Hi, welcome to my website critique review. And today I've got a real cracker because the challenge I've been given is my hardest challenge yet. We'll see why I took on this challenge, and also we're going to see a tool that is really useful if you want to know why your website is loading slow. So welcome to the video. So as mentioned, I'm going to look at a tool that's really useful if your website is loading slowly and you want to know what it is that's causing it to load slow. So we know that with page speed by Google, for example, it may say that you need to improve the speed, but sometimes it can be difficult to know where is the issue. So we've got a really useful tool we're going to use on today's website critique. And also, as I mentioned, this is a real challenge, a really difficult challenge, because this website by vidIQ is a particularly well put together professional website. So to find 5 areas that it needs to work on, I had to work hard myself. But you'll see that I've managed to find 5 things in this video. So look out for those 5 areas, and hopefully those areas, maybe areas your business too, can work on. So if you apply some of the things we discuss in the video, then you'll find, no doubt, it will help grow your video. And that's of course the purpose of my videos for you, is I help websites and small businesses grow by using my 20 years experience to benefit you. So let's delve straight in to vidIQ.
So today we're going to look at vidIQ, and this is all down to really a challenge it was put my way last week when my YouTube channel was reviewed by them. So let's just remind ourselves of what they said.
Zanet design. Okay, so this one is about helping businesses design and manage websites. Very clear value proposition. I don't have an issue with that. Let's have a look at your video thumbnails and titles, how to install a Google kit site, website critiques. Oh, so you're also like website audits. That's interesting. Maybe you should do one on vidIQ. That'd be interesting.
So the challenge is really on then to see whether I can find 5 things that vidIQ's website needs to work on. And I have to say this is probably my hardest challenge to date, because obviously it's a very professional website. And at the end of this video as well, I'm going to just reveal again a very important tool that will really help you if you want to check your website as well. And hopefully you'll benefit from this critique, and you'll be able to see perhaps principles that will apply to your website too. So let's see how we get on as I now start to critique vidIQ's website. And I think first of all to say it's been a challenge because when you look at the website itself and the homepage, everything obviously is very professional. No doubt there's probably more than a few people in a team working behind this website, so that's really good to see. It tells me very clearly at the beginning exactly what they do, which is they help you get more views on YouTube, and obviously it's a really useful tool. So just a few things that stood out straight away. It's good that they've got top left, they've got their logo, and there's a consistency there with the branding, with the blues, which is good. Blue buttons being used, but what I do notice, and this is again really good, is they've gone for a purple colour when it comes to the actions they want perhaps new people to take. So sign up for free is very clear, the action, the focus. And again, if I notice at the bottom, request a demo, they're using as purple. So I really like the way that their focus on what they want you to do, the actions they want a new person to take, are very clear. So that's all good to see from the beginning. Now, what else can I notice? Well, I mean, the whole thing flows really well. When I went through this briefly, I just see again, this is an action they want you to take to install Chrome extension. We can see the logos are nicely laid out, and it's just easy to read. It's bite chunks of information. On most of the pages, you notice they have either videos or they have information. I think it was on the home page here, you have all these people that testify to the fact it really works. And again, it's hard to not be impressed by the way that the website is built and put together. And clearly these guys know what they're doing, because they're taking the principles that they use in their YouTube channel and they've transferred it onto their website. So as I said, to find the 5 things is going to be difficult. But I do have some tools that are useful to use, and one of the first tools I'll always check is to see is it mobile friendly. So taking their website, I would expect it to be mobile friendly. I checked on my mobile earlier and it certainly was, but again we'll just see what Google makes of it when it tests it through the mobile friendly test. So the reason why we want websites to be mobile friendly is because the majority of people now access websites using their mobile, and I'm sure vidIQ won't be any different, that they'll have a high percentage. And as often with Google, there's always a few loading issues. This often isn't down to anything other than Google's tool itself, so I don't tend to worry too much about that. But as it says, overall the page is mobile friendly, and there you can see a screenshot of how it would look on my mobile, and it certainly does. And some good things about this, you notice the logos at the top, which is good. The menu's condensed on the right hand side. Those are kind of good standards. I can read still very much the purpose of what the website's about, and again, before the fold of the phone, or the page we call it, there's a sign up for free in the purple button. So really the whole process, the whole flow of that is good. So I can't really find any faults with that. It seems to work really well. Now, one of the second tools I like to use is GTmetrix, and what this does is just goes a little bit more into some details as to how things are loading from the server, and also how it's viewed by Google, by Bing, and so on. So sometimes there's a bit of a wait here, so we'll just jump to it. Okay, so the results now here, and we can see there are a few things here that the website would need to do. So the most important part here really to look at is the fact that it takes 5 seconds to load the website. Now you might feel that's quite fast, and it is compared to the majority of sites, but that could probably be reduced by quite some substantial amount when you look at some of the recommendations below. So page speed is the default setting. If we go to the waterfall here, we can see some of the things that may have taken time to load. There's a lot of 123 requests here, so some of those could be condensed down, and that's certainly part of the recommendations when you look at page speed. So maybe some browser caching. The purpose of these here is just saying, are you the same as everyone else? Are you below par or are you above par? That's probably the best way to read it. So like here, the compression is above par, 87% is the average. Most of these are then just what everyone else is doing, which is around 100%. But these are the areas to look at. And I think if you worked on particularly optimizing images, that's a really easy one. So just look at that, for example. So you've got images that need to be reduced. So you've got this background PNG image, and the optimized version is available. You can just download that and click it. Let me just show you how that works. It's pretty good actually. So this is the original pattern that you've got on your website, and then this is the optimized version on your website, and it's exactly the same size, so 798 by 600, and that's 798 by 600 too. So you can't, when I click between the two, there is no difference at all in quality to look at visually, and yet that's a saving of 29% reduction. Now you might think that's a bit finicky, but then you've got a 67% reduction, a 70% reduction. When you just work through these images alone, you've got a 31% reduction, saving 30 kilobytes, and that in itself is an easy win. I mean, that will bring this down by some amount of time. When you add on that, then caching, directs, minimizing directs, and so on. So I think that probably half a day spent on just fixing these issues here would see this come down by at least half, maybe even down to about 2 seconds. This would probably go up to an A, and this would probably be an A or a B as well. So there you go, there's my first thing. I'm desperately trying to find things, so I'm certainly going to have that one, because that's one that's well worth improving when it comes to optimizing your website. Okay, so let's see if we can find something else. There was something I did notice when I was looking at earlier, that alt tags, obviously from a search engine optimization point of view, you'll know that search engines need information about the page, and with YouTube obviously it's quite limited on what information you can give. But with websites, obviously, there's a lot more information that Google takes, or search engines take. And I just noticed there's no alt tags on these images. These main images on the website have no alt tags. Now, you do use alt tags, but for example, if I just click on here, inspect, and let's just look to see. So here's the image tag, and then there's no alt tag at all. So, I mean, if it was me, I would probably just use this as it's, what's this? Is that a heading? Yes, that's a heading 1 there. So I'd certainly use some of the keywords that are mentioned there in the image to the side. So hopefully that makes sense. And this is about installing vidIQ. So I mean, if nothing else, you could just have this as vidIQ installation screen or something. Just something, again, that can help produce really better keyword understanding for Google. And of course, it's not just about that. When it comes to alt tags, they are important, not just from an SEO point of view, but also it just means it helps others when they're perhaps trying to understand what the website's about. Even people that are using browsers that rely on alt tags for reading what the image is about, then from a usability and accessibility point of view, that's essential too. So that was a second thing that I think I'm going to say needed to improve. Now, one of the other things I like to do when I do a critique on a website is just to see how Google views things. If I type in vidIQ into the search engine, and obviously you want to come up number 1, so you're paying an advert to make sure you are number 1. And then you've got the number 1 position as well, and then you've got these extra links through as well, which is all very good. And then you've got the Chrome vidIQ information here. Okay, good. So that's all kind of good from a search engine point of view, and I expected that. But what you really will need to do here is vidIQ has its own box here as well. Now, this is a really exciting thing, because this isn't something you can just have yourself. From my understanding, this is known as a knowledge panel, and the idea is that Google decides whether or not it wants to give a knowledge panel with a business. And in this case, Google's decided that you deserve a knowledge panel. So here you've got all your profiles and information about vidIQ, and yet this hasn't been claimed. Now, hopefully you'll come and claim this, and you'll thank me for that, but claim this knowledge panel. If someone clicks on that now, you can get it verified. And this then is going to surely give you even more authority in Google if you have that clarified and claimed with Google. So that would be my third tip, is to really take advantage of something that Google, a gift from Google here. That's how I understand it anyway. So that would be my third tip. Okay, now there were 1 or 2 other little things I came across when I was looking through it this morning. I noticed, for example, that there was a sign-up page. Now, where was it? I think if I go to the blog, and then free sign-up, was it there? Yeah, so here's a sign-up page. And I just noticed here that it had no H1 tags. Now, you might think again that that's not that relevant, but when you are looking at a web page, it's just good practice that if that's the top heading, then don't put it as H3, put it as H1. That's just a kind of good practice from an SEO point of view, and also usability point of view. I think it was the same with the blog as well. I think if I go to the blog, there's no H1 here at all. I think this is an H2, probably because it's dynamically produced. But so what could you do? What would be a workaround here for that? One of the things I was thinking of is you've got your solutions here, and what you've done here, this is an H1. So why not just have this kind of image across, maybe even with a sign up and request demo, and then have those pages below here. So in that way, then you've just covered yourself. You've got an H1. It just helps towards the SEO. It helps towards consistency. And it's just good practice when it comes to building websites to have an H1 on the page. That's my understanding. Again, it might be that you have a different view, but certainly I think that's what I would expect to see, an H1 on every single page of your website. And then finally, I just ran a check to see if there's any broken links on the site. There were a few. I'll give you an example of one. It was the contact page. Now, I think what you've done is you've replaced it with this contact hi there thing on the side. So I understand that the contact page isn't always easy to get to, but obviously it is being spidered because Google was aware of it. So there is a contact page there which gives you a 404. So there are links somewhere that go to the contact page. You may just want to check that. There were a few other pages as well when I ran a check. I've got 404 pages that came up. One was to do with terms, but it was termos, so I think that might be perhaps a Spanish terms page, and I'm sure you can find the others if you wanted to fix those. So that would be my fifth, and struggling to find 5 things, but I have found 5 things. So as always, I would say that the site itself is a really nice site. vidIQ is a good tool. I do use it from time to time. I am trying to grow my channel as well. I hope that it'd be nice if this was given a mention, because I have been able to put together this critique in time based on that video request last week. So hopefully you guys will not only enjoy listening to my little ramble here, but also some of your developers, if it's not yourselves, will be able to put together some of those changes over the next few weeks, and that will benefit you. And hopefully it benefits my clients as well that are listening to me and my subscribers, and hopefully they'll also benefit by putting these things into practice. And that tool I was going to suggest was this one here. Try it, GTmetrix. And the reason it's so good is because you can actually see what's loading and when it loads. And it looks a bit confusing at first, but when you start looking through, you'll be quite surprised at how many things take time to load. And you may want to, there are some plugins you can get that will put a lot of these assets together, these JavaScripts and JS, and you can just see, can you combine some of these by using a plugin? Could you combine all of these style sheets again by using a plugin? There are some excellent plugins that will do that, which I'll probably look at in another video. So thanks very much for listening. Make sure you do subscribe to my channel, and obviously then press the notify bell as well if you want to be alert of the next update. Thanks again for listening.